Hello and welcome back to Blame the Dice Wargaming. My name's Tim and today we've got some Star Wars Legion unboxing videos for you. I am a little bit late to the game because I didn't get my stuff delivered to me very promptly, unfortunately. So I'm going to do a video anyway. So today we have two. We have Padme and we have Cad Bane. I'm going to do two small videos so you don't have to sit through one if you're only interested in the other. But please do watch both and like, comment, subscribe and let me know what you think. Right, let's get into it. Here they are, Cad Bane and Padme. I'm going to start with Padme. That's the one I am particularly looking forward to. It's going to be a lot of fun. Plus, it might add a little bit of versatility to my clones list that have been getting a little bit repetitive. So, let's get into this one and see what we've got. First things first, looks like we've got a brand new style of box, which isn't much to be getting excited about, but it is a change in packaging. And I wonder what that tells about FFG. Also, our rules. No longer on our black paper, we're now gone for white. Cost saving measures, or is it because it looks better? I'm not entirely sure why. But all the things we need to know instructions wise and rules on the back, which is always good. Now the RIG has now been updated, but originally it wasn't updated with this. So this was the only place to get some of these rules. Okay, so let's have a look at what you get. So here is our model. Hard plastic on sprues. You get some nice variants in terms of what you can do. Let me try and show you this. Oh yeah, the camera's getting that quite nicely. Now there's such a lot of detail right down to the kind of fabric and even kind of like muscle on the back. You can kind of quite make that up quite detailed. Some kind of very particularly good detail. Let me get, see if the camera can capture that in relation to the chest and around the texture on the scarf or the cloak. It's really nice. Plus, we're going to get 3 weapons. We've got the kind of little blaster pistol she's got. She's got the droid rifle that she kind of uses after the scene on Geonosis. It's going to be really good. And just to point out, if you didn't know, there's 3 positions. You've got this one with a smaller pistol and cloak, no cloak, smaller pistol, and then cloak with the droid rifle. I think I'm going to be going for this personally. That's what I quite like the look of. Okay then, so this is Padme's card. So Padme Amidala, the spirited senator, is an operative and of course a trooper. She has 6 health and a courage value of 3, rolls white defense dice, but does surge up and down on her defense. So straight away a lot, which is kind of similar to Leia when you kind of start looking at the defense and their health. And even the gun and the martial arts ability, broadly speaking, she's got the same gun and the same defense. There might be some difference in range, but broadly speaking, it's the same. In terms of upgrades, you've got your command, you've got your training, you've got your gear, and you've got your armament. So the armament is an addition, so it'll be good to see what those pistols bring, because it allows us to have a bit more versatility. But for 90 points, that's another thing she's got in common with Princess Leia. Difference is she's an operative, so you will still be needing to bring a commander. So, first things first then, in terms of her rules. She has got quick thinking, which is gain 1 aim and 1 dodge token. We first saw this on Jinner, so when it's a bit of a 2-for-1, so instead of having to decide between one and the other, you get both, which is always good and nice to have if you need to be able to kind of up your defendability and your ability to hit home and a little bit stronger. Next keyword is authoritative, and this is when you would be issued an order, you may issue an order to a friendly unit at range 1 to 2 instead. So essentially, if she's getting the order, she can dole that out. So it's kind of like a comms relay, but with a bit of a boost to it. So that's quite a nice thing to have. Now, moving on, this will kind of pair nicely. Exemplar, friendly units at range 1 to 2 and in line of sight can spend your green tokens. So not only can you be giving them tokens in terms of the order token, and you've got quick thinking, so you can get yourself in a turn, 1 aim and 1 dodge token. If they're in line of sight, they get to spend those tokens. Now she's also got nimble, so when she spends a dodge token, she gets to keep that, which is always something really good for a unit with white dice. And lastly, she's sharpshooter 2. So essentially anything she's shooting at, not only is she Pierce 1, she's also going to be bringing it down to light cover, which is great news. Okay, so let's have a quick look at what command cards and upgrade cards and what have you get with her. So we get one training upgrade, and that is Offensive Push. And this is when you perform a move, gain Tactical 1. After you perform standard move, gain 1 aim token. A good upgrade, and it's good to have another way to get hold of that. I'm not so excited about this one, but it's a good one to have. It's always nice to have it. We have 2 gear upgrade slots. I think we have, emergency stims, which we've seen before, but essentially during an attack, you may, if you're going to suffer a wound, you may prevent a wound to be suffered that turn by placing it on this card, and you'll essentially suffer it at the end of the activation. And it can be quite a good one, particularly if you've got a way to get somebody to cure your health, or you really need them to activate and to finish the activation in their turn. So quite a good one. Next up is the Ascension Cables. This is the first time we're getting these, so as a free action, until the end of your activation, you gain Scale, which is you ignore the effects of difficult terrain and do not suffer wounds whilst clambering. And either before or after you perform a move action, you may perform a free clamber action. So not only can you go up and down things for free at the start or at the end of your movement, which is great, you have environmental gear built in, which is fantastic. And that's for 4 points. The only relative downside is it is something that is exhaustible. But I've got to be honest with you, I think that's a great deal. That's great points for something which could, in a moment, prove really, really important to enable you to get somewhere which maybe the enemy thinks you can't. Okay, let's look at our next set of cards. Okay, now the command card, we have Improvise Orders. And this is after an order token is drawn from a friendly order pool. Draw a second order token from that order pool and choose one, and shuffle the other back into the pile. So quite good, we've got access to this. We've not seen this one for a while, and it's one which can be quite useful, particularly if you need to go fishing for something that you really, really need. And lastly, we've got her armament. This is only 5 points, so a really good value. You've got a 1 to 3 blaster, and to add insult to the droids who only get their 1 white dice, somehow she is able to have such precision with the weapon that she gets to roll an extra red dice when she's doing so, and it has Pierce 1, and that's for 5 points, which I think is really, really good. I can't imagine I would not be running that, frankly, because that brings up to 95 points, and she's got Pierce 1 on that. I know she's got Pierce 1 natively, but I'll keep Pierce 1 this way, and she'll have a red dice and a white dice at range 1 to 3, not 1 to 2. Okay, let's have a look at those command cards. This is her 3 pip card, Diplomatic Cover, which gives an order just to Padme Amidala. Now, this is the first time we have seen in the game the permanent keyword, which means when you've played it, you will be keeping this, which is going to be really interesting. Okay, so if this card was divulged, Padme gains Secret Mission. If it was not, she gains Reliable 1. So just a quick reminder, Reliable 1 is the one where at the start of every turn, you get to have a Surge token. It's what the Phase 2s have. Pretty good, though she surges up and down. So unless you're just having that to have her giving out tokens at range 1 to 2 because of her exemplar, then it's not that big a deal. But if you are planning to do token sharing, then she's going to have an aim, a dodge, and a surge, potentially, every turn to be sharing, which is pretty good. Now, the Secret Mission, Divulge, is something that you will do at the start of the game. Very much like what we do with Vader's one where he kind of infiltrates. I forget the name, but you have to divulge that one at the start of the game as well. And essentially, she now gains, as a free action, Secret Mission. So that's the same thing that R2's been causing all sorts of chaos with, where she just has to get to the enemy deployment zone, do a free action, get that victory token, and then survive. So really, really interesting stuff. So let's look a bit more detail. So when you divulge, you deploy during the deploy unit setups. Padme Amidala gains Infiltrate, and when she is deployed, she gains 1 dodge token, and this card must be selected during round 1. Just the same as Vader's, essentially. So you're going to have to deep strike in a way, but I suspect you might not want to be deep striking her too far, and this might maybe go well with Rex if he was going forward and get a couple of squads up the board. You might be able to get her in a position where she's sharing tokens and also not left out on her own. But very good, considering you'll also be able to have this and R2. Very interesting stuff. This is her 2-pip, Aggressive Negotiations, some excellent artwork on this one, and this gives Padme and one trooper an order. Let's look at the text. So, when Padme Amidala issues an order to a trooper unit, it may either perform a speed 1 move action or gain 1 dodge, 1 aim, or 1 surge. I read that backwards. But not bad at all. That could be really, really useful. It's a shame that it's only going to be for one additional trooper, but such is life. But essentially, bear in mind, she is a trooper unit as well, so she will be able to get the benefit of that. So not only is she getting the dodge or the surge or the aim, but so is the other unit too. So if you're playing Secret Mission, or you've got some people who are maybe feeling a bit vulnerable, here is a great way early doors to be giving them some dodge tokens and possibly do a bit of clone ball sharing of tokens, which is always great news for the Republic. Right, let's have a look at that 1-pip. Just an order for Padme once again, and let's look at the text. So Padme gains Danger Sense 2, and at the start of activation phase, Padme Amidala may transfer any number of suppression tokens from trooper units at range 1 to 2 to herself. For each token transferred, she gains 1 dodge token, gaining up to 2 dodge tokens. So, let's unpack this a little bit, and I think we need to remember that we have already got Exemplar in here, so she can continue to be sharing out tokens with people, and she can gain an absolute ton of their suppression tokens if they are in a bit of a spot and they need to be doing some activations that turn. And with Danger Sense 2, for every up to 2 surge tokens she has, she'll be able to roll additional white dice. So not only is she going to be able to defend herself more readily, she's also going to be able to soak up an absolute mass of what could have been very limiting surge tokens. What's really interesting here about this one, I think, is typically when you have a 1-pip token, I think they tend to be very, very aggressive. They tend to be, some kind of alpha strike, or they tend to be some kind of, something that's going to be really impactful and really turn the game. This one's really defensive because she isn't really gaining too much out of this, but what she could do is find herself all of a sudden taking a pinned down number of units and making them incredibly versatile. And depending on the number of surge tokens she's taking off them will depend on if she gets to do any of her trickery, such as doing quick thinking or what have you to enable them to be able to leech more tokens out of her. But considering you could use that to make her very difficult to kill in a turn, and to all of a sudden turn your units around her into much more capable or double units with 2 activations, this could be really, really interesting. And I think this one might be one where I'll have to think about how often I want to play it, or how often will I find myself in that position where I think that's what I'm going to need to do. But I suspect when I do, it could be really, really good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to assemble the model, and we're going to have a quick look at her and a final summary of what we've got. And this is what Padme looks like assembled. I've gone for what I thought was the most dynamic pose. I really like the cape. I thought it would kind of look the best, and I think otherwise that little pistol she had, I just didn't like the look of it. It looked a bit weedy to me. It looked a bit unimpressive. But like this, it's really nice, in my opinion. You can see she got details into her hair, individual kind of fingers, even separated out there. So much detail across like the seams on the legs and the belt and whatnot. And okay, the face, they have came such a long way from Leia, who looks kind of like a chubby chipmunk. But they kind of have quite a Natalie Portman looking representation there. So I mean, their work is incredible what they're able to do now, and it must be so hard to be able to do it at such a small scale. And I will tip my hat to how far they have came since the early days, and I really like that. So in terms of builds, let's have a quick chat. One of the issues that the Republic suffer from is a kind of lack of activations on account of their units are so expensive. Now, Padme is only 90 points, so she is a bit of a break to that. And when you think about what you get when you deploy the 3-pip card, you have the ability to have Secret Mission. So let's just say you do, and this is what this build's about in my mind. Let's just say we have this, and also you'd have R2. And then the rest is going to be padded out with kind of pretty basic, as cheap as you can get them phase 1s and a few phase 2s if you've been lucky enough to get hold of some of them. Now, With this, you've got ascension cables, so you can get up and around things if you need to. You're not going to have the limit on movements like R2 does. You've got situational awareness, and I forgot to mention that when I was describing the cards. I had a battle report, battle a few nights ago, and I took the card out of the pack because I hadn't opened Cad Bane yet, and I forgot to mention it. So you do get situational awareness in this one. So essentially, you have the ability to spend one of your dodge tokens, and you have got Nimble, which is really good, so you'll be able to keep on spending them to cancel crits as well. And also, I just think for 5 points, this looted blaster is really good. So you've got the ability right there and then to have some extra ways to get around the table really quickly. You will be able to infiltrate if you need to. So you're not, but we're having the ascension cables meaning you're not feeling obligated to stick her somewhere, right in the thick of things, because she'll be able to get up and around things really easily. And with situational awareness, she'll possibly be slightly more defendable. Now, alternatively, if you were going to use this 3-pip card with her, I quite like the idea of not divulging it. And this is less of a secret mission play. This is where she's going to be in the middle of it. And this is where you're starting to use your things along the lines of aggressive negotiations, where she can start giving out the speed 1 maneuvers, and we can start handling out aim, dodges, and surge tokens, and that's on top of her normal things that she can do, and on top of her having reliable 1. So that makes her a factory of tokens for your clones, which we all know is fantastic. So in terms of the build, I don't mind any of this being kept with it. You won't need ascension cables. Maybe you would decide you wanted to run it with, emergency stims, because you have a bit more longevity, because the idea is she is going to be in the thick of things. So there's something quite good as well. Also, if you were going to go with that, and I'm not saying I necessarily would, I don't tend to play emergency stims, but that leads nicely into Off Fate is in your hands, having Danger Center 2, being able to take suppression tokens off friendly units. I think there's some real credibility there to having that. And in this list, you might decide to go with having improvised orders, so you can guarantee orders are going to the right person. So if you are ordering and you don't get her and you really wanted to, because you wanted to want her to be able to activate and to get to do quick thinking and to take other tokens so she can share them out, that might be a way to get it. Really good stuff. There's a lot of nice things I like in that build. I think Padme is going to be an exceptional addition to the Republic's army, and I think realistically she's going to be filling a role that doesn't exist, and from what I understand from all the minis in the game right now, is unique, because she is very much not a very aggressive player, is very much a machine for doling out tokens, but can be played in 2 very different ways. Or at least that's my interpretation. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Drop me some comments in relation to what you're going to be doing with it, or if you've already had a chance to go on the table, let me know how it went. I'd love to know what you've been doing. It'd be really, really interesting to get some insight into it and start a conversation. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and join us on the Blame the Dice Wargaming page on Facebook. We have all our stuff being posted up there, which covers far more than just Legion. It covers so many mini games, and there's also always some really, really great conversations and some great competitions where we're giving away some really expensive stuff. Okay, stay safe, guys. Bye for now.